Left jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best, you gotta show me son. Actions over words, baby boy, is you real or what? Talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports, talking way too much, world come. Back sports,
What's good, everyone? WCS back on the boulevard once again. Shout out to everyone that's on deck, man. You already know. I know a lot of people probably looking at the thumbnail like, what's Kilroy? Well, pretty much, Kilroy is a myth, a mythical character who was seen all over in combat. Somebody always said Kilroy was here, so I just decided to pick it up as a freaking call sign. You know what I'm saying? You know, I decided to pick it up as a call sign. When you see the thumbnail up there, it's going to be one of those situations where still WCS, you already know. But, you know, that's my call sign. It's pretty much, you know, maybe different topics, but it's representing USMC. Somebody had a conversation with me. He said, I don't know why you don't, you know, have anything up there about the Marine Corps. Be proud of it. You know what I'm saying? You did your time. You should let people know that you a proud veteran. So I said, let me go with a call sign, man. Kilroy. I always liked Kilroy. Kilroy was here. He was everywhere. You feel me? Kilroy was everywhere. And the shock and awe is pretty much what tactics are. You know, you always want to give your opposition or your adversary, your foe, a shock and awe type presentation. And today, I want to talk about the mental health issue. Now, know this. I'm not about to sermonize you in anything. All right? But we're going to attempt to grade down this callus that's been a part of boxing for quite some time. All right? Okay? This has been in boxing for quite some time. You know, it's been punishment going on for quite some time. And it's been personal issues going on for life. But we've seen it play out in the hurt business. And people kind of take it a little bit more different on how they want to grade it. You know, how they want to weigh it, rather. You know, depending on which boxer it is. Recent news has been blown out of proportion. It's been absolutely blown out of proportion, right? And people really don't want to talk about it and give you the truth and honesty in critiquing somebody. We have to really stop. As much as I say, okay, we have to really stop. It's not really a we that's doing it, but I'm just saying an interview went off where Punch Drunk interviewed Regis Progress. And he just mentioned his good friend, Charlo, that was going through some things. In no way, shape, or form, if I had a conversation or interview with somebody and I insinuate I had some problems going on in my life, you know, some of that played out because this girl went on the live and pretty much put it out there as public record. But look, there's a lot of cats on here having been married 15 years. They haven't even been married 20 years. Some haven't been married 10, just a minimum of 10 years. Marriage is tough. Not only is marriage tough, but when you have a full contact breadwinner who's competing in combat sports, it gets a little bit more complex to keep that bond and that marriage, that matrimony glue together as a family. You know what I'm saying? Just like the military, families are shredded, torn apart all the time because we go on deployments and come back. Our kids are growing up without us. We go and then they get used to us leaving and coming back, and then it builds up a distance, a wedge within the family. And sometimes your girl leave first, your wife or your kids start to act crazy. You know what I'm saying? They start to act out, rebel, and you know, it just goes downhill from there. So the news we heard was that, Regis put it out there that his friend wasn't doing too well. All right. I listened to everything this man said. He wasn't speaking anything I couldn't interpret. I didn't have to hire a dragamon or anything. You know what I'm saying? I listened to that man just talk about one of his good friends that was going through it. And I respected it, even though I've had a serious amount of criticism for them Charlo twins. Absolutely. And I also criticize him for him having that meeting with Dimitri Bivol and, saying some things that was out of pocket, that just didn't link up to who he was as a boxer. When we did the accountability with the titles and everything else, it just wasn't there. But to take that information, as this man has some personal problems going on, and to once again breach his common space of decency. The common space of decency is him as a fighter, him as a person, him as an adult, him as a father, him as a husband, and everything else that goes along with it. When you breach that with false information, that itself becomes personal too, because now you are giving people a different look. With this person that you're talking about, you putting information out there that's giving them a different look, and it's not true. Especially when that look is clouded with negativity. At no point in time did anybody say Jamal Charlo had mental health issues going on. It's been on record that Ryan Garcia said he had it. We've seen Danny Garcia, he had an emotional outburst. You know what I'm saying? He displayed his tears in the post fight. You know what I'm saying? He really had a release point where he was just letting go of whatever that was built up in his heart, right? Psychologically with him. Then you had Tyson Fury come back, knowing he left and he was on drugs and doing all that other stuff, right? He come back and use the front line that it was mental health issues going on, right? So these fighters have constantly utilized that. Teofimo Lopez, he said he was dealing with stuff at one point in time. So I'm not understanding why it becomes so easy when a black fighter has issues, right? And I know people are gonna, frown up a little bit, raise a brow, you know what I'm saying, clench their fists and everything. Here we go again. It's not here we go again. I'm just speaking on a point. I'm just giving my opinion on a point that was made. If I'm having a conversation or somebody having a conversation about me and they tell you I'm just having some personal problems, which are absolutely natural in our motherfucking lives, you know what I'm saying, for us to have personal issues. It is natural. We go through this shit, especially in relationships, not only with our mate, but with our children. Not only with our children, but with our friends, our relatives and people like that. We have personal issues, right? But how dare you pile it on and exacerbate a point to say somebody has mental illness. You don't have the right to say that, bro. You don't have the right to sit up here and to say that someone's, you know, having problems or issues with mental illness just because a what? A third party mentioned that this man was having personal problems. You can be going through it real bad and not have personal issues. You can just be going through it. People tell you all the time they can be in a financial situation, they going through it. That don't mean they having mental issues. You know, they might be leaving a relationship or something like that. That don't mean they having mental issues. They can be broke. They can be going through hard times. That doesn't mean that us is unqualified. We're unqualified to prognose somebody of mental illness. We're unqualified, bro. Opinions do not diagnose people with mental illness. I think it's the ultimate fuck up when you as a listener says, I hear what I heard, but yet I'm gonna put my own spin on it. And with that spin, I'm gonna add some more ingredients to it. I'm gonna add some more debris, not ingredients, debris. I'm gonna put some more debris in there and I'm gonna put it out there the way I want it. You know what I'm saying? At first, it was just a breeze. It was just a breeze. You was hearing the information that so-and-so is having personal problems. But when you regurgitate the information back out there, it's a tornado. You putting that information out there for absolute destruction. It just isn't right. It isn't right for you to take a personal issue and act like you qualified to speak on some shit that doesn't have anything with a doctor's diagnose or the admission of the person that you're speaking about. Jamal Charlo never admitted anything about having no freaking mental health issues. He never even said no shit. And I'm not going to make this about you, Blue, but it's disrespectful, bro. You always talking about good brother, black man, the black man. Dude, you're an opportunist. You never should have put, once again, you never should have put another black fighter in a predicament where they are seen in a negative, dim light. If nobody didn't tell you, you didn't hear no documentation, or somebody from his camp said he's going through mental health, then you never should have opened your motherfucking mouth and said anything, bro. Not only that, a staunch supporter of Errol Spence, he can go out here and do anything and everything he wants. Ain't nobody yelling no mental illness, huh? Nobody's up here screaming no mental illness. He got issues going on too. I don't hear nobody talking about no mental illness. They just say, oh man, we ain't gonna talk about it. Just leave him alone. What's the deal? How can you sit up here and say this man had mental illness, bro? Which mental illness and personal problems aren't even on the same level. It's people take medication for mental illness. Who takes medication for personal problems? I'm talking about the doctor actually subscribing them. They've been diagnosed by a professional and they've been prescribed a certain type of medication to help them cope. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right what you said about Jamal Charlo. It's just certain things like you can put the clickbait out there and you can say what you want, brother. This is not, one of those evenings that's gonna be a mano and I'm going out here to attack you or something. But I have to ask myself, being at the age that I am now in life, I'm listening to some of you cats talk. And you seem like you don't have a care in the world except the next super chat or the next view or the next cent that's coming in. So I'm sitting back saying, hey, they already done sacrificed themselves. They wouldn't do anything and everything on this YouTube shit. They wouldn't say something negative about anybody. They just don't care. Now, like I said before, I was defending when Charlo said, hey, don't unsubscribe to this guy Blue and don't do this. He don't know shit about boxing and all that. But that has nothing to do with this. I'm just looking at Charlo as a black man that really, I don't look for him for no respect. I'm not around him like that. I'm not up here to create narratives on that man either. But to know that he's going through something and to use your platform with the amount of subscribers and viewers that you brag about all the time. Why would you put out false information that this man has mental health issues? Does mental health exist in boxing? I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it does exist. I'm pretty sure fighters are feeling some type of way. They go to the doctors and find out certain things are going on. You know what I'm saying? They're being punched in the head. Not just the night of the fight, but the train up to that point. The rigors of training, the rigors of fight camp, all that shit combined over a period of time wears on you. One location, bro. That location above your shoulders that has to take the punishment. The CTE, the damage, the residual effects that goes on with punches being delivered to the head, you know what I'm saying, over and over and over again, repetitiously, over and over again for years upon years, from the amateurs to the professionals. And if you think headgear stops that, it doesn't. You still feel it, obviously, because people have been knocked out with what? Headgear on. Let me get to the chat. Shout out to the ones in the building. Give me a minute to get to this chat right quick. Cooking with Sir Senior on deck. Salute WC. Salute to you, Sir Senior. How you feeling, bro? H. So with the $1 super chat, Dad, appreciate you for the channel and your comment. They say they're making a mockery of mental health, making it look bad for people who actually do. If I'm late to work, I'm going to blame it on mental health. Unfortunately, you have a valid point that there are certain people who does abuse it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it while I was active duty on some people that wanted to get out of deployments, wanted to get out of combat. They used mental health. They weren't stable. But guess what? One thing that I know, I can only speak for the Corps. I knew some people that had been over to combat 3 and 4 times already that was fucked up in the head. And you know what? They still had to go back for a 5th. They still had to go back for a 4th. You've been over there too. You still had to go back for a 3rd. If you got mental health issues, guess what? They tell you, oh, we're going to put paperwork on you. This is what we're going to do for you. You can no longer perform your duties. So look, combat is in a whole nother area. That's in country. That's in somebody else's country, right? It's mental health bleeds to your garrison performance as an everyday service member that's carrying out duties, depending on what rank you are, in charge of troops and everything else, right? And possibly, all right, because a lot of times when you pick up rank, you have military servicemen that have families, right? They put it out there as if you can no longer perform your daily duties. They can no longer trust you to be a team member. You're not competent enough. So they send you to these people to get evaluations. That's what happened when you claim this mental health in the service now. This is real talk. Like when you cannot perform your duties or you missing movements, they put paperwork on your ass. And that will affect you from getting promoted moving forward. So what happens in the military? Motherfucker keep their mouth shut. They keep them lips zipped. I do understand, bro, what you're talking about, AC Picks, when it even deals with the civilian and the government. Certain people in life in general will use mental health to say they're going through some things, but it's going to come upon a time where they're going to tell you, hey, you need to get some paperwork on that. You need to get evaluated. Go to therapy. It's hard to determine that. I was critical of Tyson Fury coming back to my mental health because I just didn't see how mental health had you doing what you was doing. But it's not up to me. It's not up to me to basically wager a prognosis on this man and give him a whole list of daily duties he should perform to get himself out of that. There's no way I can do that. I'm not qualified to give him a list so he can get himself out of that mental illness that he has. I'm not qualified. I'm not a life coach. I'm not a psychologist. I'm no one that deals with having somebody come in front of me and I speak to them. I listen, and then I provide them a way to cope. I provide them coping mechanisms. No, that's not me. I couldn't do it. But appreciate that, AC Picks. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, we live in a society where there's a lot of people that it'll be very, very difficult for you to determine who's faking the funk and who's not. But in this boxing game, to my point, there's been fighters like Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Tyson Fury. There's been fighters out here through their own admission have put it out there that they had stuff going on mentally, dealing with mental health, right? I never heard Jamal Charlo mention that. So it brings me to this point, like, what are we doing? Why are we attacking these fighters' sanity when they already have a lot to go through? They're in the hurt business. They're taking punishment. Why are we attacking their sanity and placing a stamp on them that really hasn't been proven? They haven't been in a situation. Now, when I say situation, I'm talking about where a doctor has presented documentation out to the public or it's been leaked. So-and-so is suffering from mental illness. I suggest they don't box anymore or take some time away from boxing until they, are better off in handling this situation for the better care of themselves and their family. We haven't heard that documentation. But when you have individuals just putting it out there, what if I told people that you had mental health? You know what I'm saying? Mental health issues, because you keep on putting false information. Isn't that a mental health that you can't determine what's truth? You know what I'm saying? Isn't that a mental health? True or false? Like, can you determine what's true and can you determine what's false? Is that a mental health issue when you understand right from wrong? You've passed a critical period of learning as a child. You know the stove is hot and you know when it's not. Is that mental illness when you choose to go over there and stick your hand on that stove and it's still hot? Maybe so. But I'm just not understanding how we're gonna wager and we're gonna put some more chips in on the wager. You know what I'm saying? And say, you know what? I got to add my own little funk to it. I got to build this up a little bit more. I got to make it seem a little bit more controversial, suspenseful. I got to take personal problems and turn them to mental health. Now, a whole entire group of variables are in play when you say this man has mental health issues or he's dealing with mental health. It's fucked up, man. You messing with this man's sanity. You know what I'm saying? We're up here putting false information out on the YTC and people are running with it. The good thing about it is that we do have competent, intelligent content creators that can look at the channels who's running with this mental health, and they pretty much a part of the sheep mentality anyway. They all talk about the same subjects and topics that's going to bring in the traction from the viewers. So that's why a lot of people are just really being apprehensive about fucking with YTC, because it's a lot of fake information that's distributed out here. You know what I'm saying? And these individuals don't care. It's just all about the money. Shout out to Major Key Boxing on deck. Hey, Major Key dropped me an email that one of y'all blocked him or whatever. I'm not sure who did it, but unless it's somebody out here that's just being a complete and absolute troll in here, they're being racist, or they just, outside everything that we would do in a chat. I should be able to see it. So I'm guessing Major Key wasn't that dude. He's not that dude. If Major Key is a channel that you mess with outside of here, and something may have happened or whatever, please, if you're a wrench, don't take it upon yourself to time him out. You know what I'm saying? I've known him long enough to know he ain't gonna come over here trolling. If he has something to say, he still ain't gonna be trolling. He gonna say what he have to say, but it's not gonna be in any way, shape, or form of trolling. So do me that courtesy, wrenches. You know what I'm saying? He mentioned to me that he got timed out. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? Why did he get timed out? Chill with that. Bruce Gas Boxing Jazz and more on deck. Salute to you, Bruce. Salute to the OG, man, on deck. Great show today, man. Great show. Very informative. You know what I'm saying? I'll try to explain to people about boxing. You know, boxing, they call it the hurt business. I guess that's just a punchline they use. But they don't want to really talk about why these people are being hurt. They're not just hurt in the ring. They're hurt with things that go on outside the ring. Because if you're not training for a fight, you got to cope with everyday life. You got to cope with the people that's in your company. You got to cope with those who know you. You know what I'm saying? It's the hurt business in and out the ring, goddammit. In and out the ring. It's tough. It's beyond that shit. Key Mitch on deck. Salute to you, brother. Major Key said, Bruce, shout out to Mr. Sucker Free himself, Mr. Gumbo, a.k.a. Hot Grease on deck with the $10 super chat. Salute to you, Gumbo. Salute WCS, my big bro, and the family. The weather's bad, but I'm listening. No doubt. Appreciate you, man. Out there getting it in as always, supporting the channel, supporting life in general. You know what I'm saying? Out there grinding. Shout out to Mr. Gumbo, a.k.a. Hot Grease in the building. Andrew Charles, what's good with it? Big Blunts and Boxing on deck. Salute to you. He say, salute, family. Mitch say, if Charlo was going through mental health, MF wouldn't care. Only Queen Cap is granted sympathy. You know, I have to 1,000% agree with what you just said. I was just trying to keep it on, you know, the boxers and how, in my opinion, a boxer like Charlo, who have been very rambunctious and belligerent. This has nothing to do with them being rambunctious and belligerent. This has something to do with something that's deeper, okay? We're not talking about behavior, mannerisms, in a way of them trash talking. We're talking about a friend of his, not Charlo himself, but a friend of his on somebody else's interview mentioned that he was going through some things. Going through some things is what we do all the time. It can be various reasons, but why put mental health on this man? Why tag this man as having mental health issues? You don't have the right to do that shit. Nobody give you the right to do that. You think you can do it to him, I'm going to do it to you. You don't have the right to put that label on that man like that. You got family like he got family. Do you have mental issues? Do you have mental issues? When you're in the hospital and your health is declining, or do you have mental issues not to go live and take care of your body and take care of your health so you can be around longer for your family? Do you have mental issues? Because I don't think a lot of y'all was talking about damn Ryan Garcia when he came out and said he had issues going on, and he had the damn while he was pulling out of fights. You know, he was on the beach chilling with his girl. He had to relax. But dude, do you have mental issues? Why are you going to take some from an interview that was basically mentioned as personal issues that he was going through, and you're going to put mental? Personal can be a variety of things that's inclusive to his common areas, bro. His personal space. It can be a lot of things that's disrupting that he has to deal with. Everybody deal with shit different. But why put mental health on the shit unless a doctor comes out, unless he comes out and put the admission out there, brother? I think it's absolutely disrespectful once again, you know, that you feel so comfortable in doing that. All for the dollar bill, bro. I feel if you do it to somebody else and you don't care, what happens if somebody basically diagnose you? They diagnose you and put that mental health tag on you. It's disrespectful because boxers get hit in the head. We sitting here on the keyboard, talking about the sport of boxing. They training and living and competing in the sport of boxing. And we're at a point right now where we understand how lethal social media can be. Some of y'all are so clout driven and you seen your names in certain places and people mention you that you want them to hang on to your every word. You want to be one of those people that can put some controversy out there and they run with it. Nobody even said that Charlo had mental issues. But what we do know in this life is when a black fighter say he has mental issues, they look at all the fucked up things he's been doing. So people say, oh, Charlo, he didn't pay that bill. He didn't pay that damn credit card bill. Or Charlo did this, Charlo did that. I get it. I get it that you have to put something to validate how he can have mental illness or how he can just be a fuck up in life. But it's not right for us to sit up here and put that mental health tag on him, because now you're saying somebody crazy. The good thing about boxing, you can be crazy and still compete. Every time you go in here to the ring, they don't give you a psych eval. They don't sit up there and give you a certain amount of minutes to torture you and say, oh, if he loses his mind, let me see, is he going to lose his mind? He going to lose his mind? Keep going, keep going. They don't do that. It's none of that happens. But I just think it's very, very depressing that people take it for granted and just put a mental tag. You can talk all the shit you want, but you put a mental health tag on somebody without any information being out on them. But yet, these same individuals see Errol Spence just out here doing what the hell he want. People talking about him, and they won't put no mental health tag on that. They'll just say, well, why don't you mind your own business? Why don't you do this? Why don't you pay more attention to your favorite fighter? I'm just saying, how, when certain people be out here in the streets and they get arrested, they just saying they fucking up. They making bad decisions. But let another fighter make a bad decision and say, I've been going through some mental health issues. Oh man, we need to really show our support for so-and-so because this sport is tough. This is the hurt business. Man, I wonder how long that person's been going through mental health. We need to jump out that ignorance, real talk. But shout out to you, Gumbo. And I totally agree with that, Mitch. Ghost on deck, what they do, man, in the building. Anytime Demetrius Andrade say that got named, it's always some injury or mental illness. They just asked the WBC to give them a tune-up fight exemption. Well, the one thing I can say about that, Ghost, is, like I said, the information that I heard, I didn't hear it, or it wasn't something that I heard directly from his mouth. Like, he's been out of sight, out of mind, and we know he's been going through some shit. The last time we seen him, he was out there looking crazy, sounding crazy out there, post-fight. But what you know on a personal level about that situation, I still believe in what you're talking about, asking the WBC to give them a tune-up fight exemption and stuff like that. I don't find it as being mental illness. I think that it's just them being entitled, acting like they're entitled, being selfish. You know what I'm saying? Just acting the way the Charlos act. But my whole topic is the mental illness tag, though. I don't think it's right to put that on anybody. If they put it on themselves and they let us know, they make us aware as the listeners that they're going through some shit. I respect it enough for them to come out and say, okay, this is what I'm going through. I'm letting my fans know, I'm letting my supporters know that this is what I'm going through. I'm putting it out there. But when you get people that's assuming and really not giving a damn about the respect of other human life, it's so much damn negativity, verbal sparring. I'm talking about just absolute wars that go on in this YTC. It almost get to a point where, this is a whole different life than what we go through on a daily basis. You get on here, there's a whole nother community where people are pretty much unaware on a daily basis of who you are, meeting you, having contact with you. We're just remotely communicating with one another. That's all we're doing. But it's so contentious. And then it get to a point where we're talking back and forth. I'm guilty of it. But what I'm not guilty of is placing tags on people that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like you hear people always try to place a tag of homosexuality on the dude. You know what I'm saying? Especially blacks on blacks. Always trying to put a gay tag on somebody. And then you put mental health on there. No, we can't get the mental health tag. They always just say, oh, we just a fuck up. That's why I say, man, let the fighters put it out there. Let the fighters put the shit out there. What happened when the shit come out in Hollywood and you've heard it over and over again, the stories of when you get to a certain point and you don't pretty much accommodate them, follow the dark side, they put it out there that you're crazy. Just like I have family members that was putting out there about PTSD. I have PTSD, I do. But they was up there putting it out to people that they didn't even know. True words. People I knew, they didn't even know, going on social media, looking them up and telling them things that was absolutely false. A lot of veterans go through that whole situation of being crazy. You go to combat, they ain't right in the head and all that. Yeah, we go through that. And it's people that you wouldn't even believe. The blood, so to speak, to be doing this shit. Andrew said he might have some shit on his mind overruling his desires to fight. That could be. He's human. When you're distracted, fighting might not be on your mind. Talk that. Talk it for real. Speak them words, man. You know what I'm saying? Well said. That's just like I say about anything. You know what I'm saying? You in a sport where it's 1-on-1, mano and mano. You have to train up for that fight and you have to go in there and compete. While you competing, you have to make those decisions. You have to. So if your mind is not all the way there, guess what? You're not going to perform to the best of your ability. But imagine this. Imagine how judgmental life is. Because if you don't tell anybody that you have shit on your mind and you didn't have a good training camp, they're going to be like, oh, is he looking to quit already? His opponent, he's not right. Or you go in there and have a bad performance and then you tell them afterwards, say, hey, I had a lot of stuff going on. I wasn't totally in the fight. Oh, he making up excuses. So he or she is making up excuses. So it's really tough for a fighter to go in there and not have the best that we've ever seen them and convince the people that was the reason. Sometimes we don't even find out fighters was going through hell until several fights after that. It's been fighters who've really been going through it. And they had that moment where they look bad. They either took an L or they got knocked out. They got knocked down. They got beat up. They say, I wasn't there that night. But you was undefeated. I wasn't there that night. That wasn't me. I couldn't do anything. My mind wasn't on the fight. We seen what happened. Oliver McCall. You trying to tell me he didn't have some shit on his mind? Yes, Oliver has some shit on his mind, bro. He has something on his mind. Major Key said, now W says you read the start of the thread in 2020. Look at the last message from yesterday. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but it started the message from yesterday. Let me see. Okay, I get to that. Okay. Okay, my bad, my bad, my bad. Okay, I got you, Major Key. I got you. 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 I appreciate that note. Appreciate that note, man. Regis said it too. Believe first. But if Blue repeated that he just giving out what he heard, but everything you hear ain't got to be repeated. Each his own. Regis said what? NYT on deck. What's good with it? How you feeling, brother? I don't know what you talking about. when y'all, you all, then you can't encompass and do it and do that, man. You can't put that cap on everybody. You can't do that. You can't put that cap on everybody. And you don't know what people said, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know, people probably thought Ron was doing certain things. People had their opinions on if he was, telling the truth, or was he dang just exaggerating, making up an excuse for putting out the fights. I said Charlo had freaking personal problems. I never once sit up here and said he had any mental issues. You come on the chat talking about I'm making excuses for Charlo. I say let's talk about what he has. Even Regis can't talk and see if Charlo has mental problems. Even Regis can't speak on that unless he was there with the doctor who basically diagnosed him with mental issues. Regis can't speak on something that he's been hearing or seeing. I can't see my peoples or a friend of mine that I'm close to go through some situations and say, oh, they got mental issues. You can't do that. I don't know what the hell you talking about. Nah, he just told me. I read the wrong part of the email. I read the wrong part of the email, but I get to that at the end. What I end up finding out. That's hilarious, man. Andrew say Ryan came out with a mental health story right on Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't think that was a coincidence. I think was a marketing move. He probably got paid to. What do I know? Hey, you have people out here that pay close attention to what goes on, man. That's a solid point you just made. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even gonna, make it about Ryan Garcia. I'm just saying that he came out with mental illness, and when I did a chat, I didn't believe him. And they was like, "Oh man, you should take that serious. You should take that serious. He may be going through some stuff and all that." I'm like, "Okay, all right." But when some other people talk about mental illness or they say they got some stuff going on, it's always like, "Oh, they need to get their life together. They need Jesus. Are they a Christian? They need Jesus, man. They go to church. See, that's it right there. They don't even go to church. That's it right there. They don't go to church. We figured this out. It's not mental illness. It's stupidity and ignorance. For real, brother. Shout out to Free Hoover, man, with a $2 super chat. He on one with this. He said AB verse Michael Williams Jr. falls through. We get Tay Jones replacement. Man, y'all tripping, man. Y'all tripping. Shout out to 150. If the fight happens and he's the one that's locked in, shout out to him, bro. Shout out to him. Shout out to the team. That has nothing to do with mental illness, though. You just over here venting. I'm not gonna give it no airplay. You just venting. Anybody who know me know I don't like the Charlos. That doesn't mean I can't sit up here and have a decent, dialogue. Or in this case, monologues. Have a monologue with my listeners and speak about the way I feel about the situation. You over here venting like the man slept with your girl or something. You know what I'm saying? Come on, brother. Get yourself together. You over here venting, man. You have an emotional swarm effect going on, man. For real. It's just like them hornets surrounding you. You're going to see no way out. You can't breathe or something. You over here venting, bro. Did you read the title? It's about mental illness. Who has it? Who don't? You know, how can we sit up here and take something serious when they say mental illness? You know what I'm saying? How do we assess it? If we hear a fighter talk about certain things and they don't mention mental illness, well, we just take it as if they're going through some shit. I don't think we have the right to put the mental illness tag on anybody. I don't care if I'm a friend or not. I can't put a mental illness tag on my friend because they're going through some shit at home. That ain't mental illness. That's called being uneducated. And you just being up here as an observer. You know what I'm saying? Someone that's around there has been around them enough to see their behavior, mannerisms. And you have selectively chosen to say, you know what, they got some personal problems going on. You're going through some mental health issues. Just because you're mad, just because you have personal, that doesn't necessarily say you have an illness. That's all I'm saying. I don't look at it like that. I'm not saying I'm right, for first of all. I'm just basing my OP. That's it. Travis on deck. What's good with it, bro? Blunt say, I know you mentioned that Ibuchi before. He was one of those guys from the older generation that got hit with that mental health shit. I watched a little documentary on him. He went through a lot. He did, man. And you know, mental illness, right? Let's just say certain people might have a mental illness like James Butler when he punched Rich Franklin, if I'm mentioning names correctly. If not, you know I'm around the ballpark, right? So there may be a person who has some things going on because he was suspended for hitting a man with no gloves on. He still had his hand wraps. He did time. And then, you know, if you didn't look at the documentary, Max Kellerman's brother took him in, tried to help him out. He ended up, you know, beating a man with a hammer or something like that and burning up the house. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's so many situations that goes on with fighters that are boxers, okay? Boxers. And it happens in mixed martial arts, any combat. But let's just stay on boxing, right? When I was on Coaches Live today, I called in and I spoke about Carlos Mazum on how he was that guy inside the ring, but he was definitely that guy outside the ring putting hands on females. You know what I'm saying? You know, putting hands on the paparazzi, beating them up and beating them down. And when, you know, guys go out there and put hands, now that is something that's going on. That's an illness. That ain't personal problem. That's an illness. If you like beating up, and it's not just one woman, several women that you was involved with, to the point where you push one off the second floor balcony and she ended up dying, and he went with her. He ended up hurting his shoulder, but he was convicted and sentenced to 11 years. And then I think after 6, they let him out on the pass to go see his family. And on his way back to the confinement, he had an accident. Killed him and a passenger. And there was another passenger in the car. They survived. But I'm just putting it out there. The man had issues. The man has issues, bro. And we're going to continue to see these domestic issues play out because CTE alters the way someone performs or operate on a daily basis. It changes it up. It has influence in a negative light due to the incapacitation that CTE does to them neurologically. It is a condition, bro. It's bad. It's bad. It's very bad, man. And you know, when somebody see you out there acting out and law enforcement is called, they can't see if you have CTE or not. All they see is a person that's out of control and they need to be and the situation need to be de-escalated, how's it going to happen? And sometimes it ends in death. Toby Barlett, shout out to Across the Pond, man. Salute to you for pulling up. Salute WCS in the chat. Salute to you, Toby, in the building. Okay, I see now someone else was putting that on Charlo. I thought it was something he might have implied himself. No. Now look at this. I'll be taken back a bit if they ever had a moment where we can just say, damn, the Charlos is actually on a whole nother mind wave right now. You know what I'm saying? They have a whole different pulse that's going on. Like checking them on a calmer level. Not anywhere close to the edge where we used to saying, okay, if you say this one word, they about to flip it. They about to flip on the switch and start getting disrespectful. If you can listen to them in just a conversation where you say, damn, this person looks like they're sung Freud. They act like they are very relaxed and they are in one with themselves. So this conversation is going to be pretty good. It'll be great if we can see that. And then they was to say, listen, I know I pissed a lot of people off in life. You know, that was my personality and everything. But right now I'm quite different. I just want to know that I have been seeking help. You know, I've been diagnosed with this. I do have a type of mental illness, just that and the other. That'll be different. He is allowing the public to be aware of what he's experiencing in life. That's all I'm saying. Give the man credit and stop sitting up here placing tags on people. Because if you had somebody place a tag on you and people ran with it, then you would be furious with that person. You'd be trying to hunt them down and say, why you put that tag on me, man? You know that ruined a part of my life, man. Why you didn't let me just do what I was doing? You was clout chasing. You was mad. You was jealous. No. Sometimes it's do unto others as others have done unto you. Do unto others as you have seen them do to others. You know what I'm saying? That's the life we live in. Oh, you think it's cool to do it to them? Okay, I'm gonna do it to you. Because that was fucked up what you did. You're smart enough to know that was fucked up, but you did it anyway. Danny had to cry in the ring for people to consider his mental health. MFs be picking and choosing. They do. Look, when people shed tears, you know, people we live in a visual type of lifestyle, you know, that, you know, right now. It's more visual because everything is orientated around social media. Back in the day, you know, without all this collateral technology and AI and all this other stuff that we deal with, all these platforms and things like that, you was out more and you was able to interact. But now the visual aspect is just correlated around social media platforms, the way people talk. You know, people want to say, oh man, let's put them on a pedestal because of how many subscribers they got. I never thought in my lifetime that I would look at people that people will attempt to place me beneath someone who has subscribers, not based off what I've been able to accomplish in my personal life, but online, people are sitting up here saying, oh, look at you. You got 9,000. You're broke. You ain't shit. You ain't never been shit. You know what I'm saying? You ain't done nothing in life. Look at your channel. It's small. Nobody, look, it's out there. I ain't gonna let it, you know. I remember 78 Sports saying some shit when all them was on the panel and he was talking about me. He said, he was talking about supposedly, you know, around it. He said, they just mad nobody want to hear what they got to say. And I say, of you of all people to make that comment, you know what I'm saying? If one person is listening to you, that's more than you speaking to yourself, bro. If you have one other person outside of yourself, that becomes a group. If it's just you on there, you have zero listeners, that means no one's listening to you. But if that zero turns to a value of one, then guess what? You have someone else listening. And then you have individuals that's just like, oh, let me just ear hustle, as they call it. Man, this shit is crazy, bro. They try to base everything off the wrong behavior of the wrong mannerisms. When I was growing up, you get to see a person shake their hand, and you see them and hang around them enough, you can establish their character. On here, it's cats that really never met each other in life, wouldn't invite these same people to their dinner table. They wouldn't do it. They're not going to invite some of these guys to their dinner table around their family and their wife. They wouldn't do it. They would not do it, y'all. They'll sit up here and keep on faking the funk. Hey, man, I'm cool with so-and-so. I'm cool with so-and-so. Okay, if you're cool with them, then invite them to dinner. Take a selfie. Invite them around your daughters and your son. Yeah, invite them. Let's not play the fool now. Keep it a hundo. If you really messing with these people and you trust them wholeheartedly, you think they're mentally stable, invite them to your household. Say, hey, man, don't get a hotel. I got the extra room for you. You stay with me, man. Get up in the, hey, I got to run to the store, man. You stay right here with the fam. I'll be right back. Just stay right here, man. We good. Man, I know you ain't going to do nothing crazy, man. I've known you on social media for how long? 4 months? Man, I know we good. Go ahead and try it if you want. Mitch say, I read that 86 boxing. What's good? Salute to you. This is my whole point with Jamal Charlo. I'm not hoping anything with him because I really don't know his situation. But I do believe, and I would say, it's unfair to be a listening ear when people out here just saying, yeah, he's going through mental health issues. I can turn around and say, I think you're going through mental health issues. Some of the shit you do, I just don't know how you feel comfortable doing that stuff when it's not normal. It is not a normal state of mind for people to do certain things in life. That doesn't mean they're mentally dilapidated. It may just say, okay, they're not good decision makers or something. They may have some other existing issues that's affecting the way they, go through life. The decisions they make. It's people out here that make bad decisions all the time. It's people out here that can't hold down a job. They're not mentally ill. They just fucking lazy. I never heard anybody say laziness was a mental illness. I never heard it. I know people out here that just can't do anything consistently. They get a job, they out of job. You talk to them again, they say, well, yeah, I'm working at so-and-so right here, but I don't know if I'm going to be there. I might go to this temp service. Dude, how old are you again? I'm 37, man. And you still going through jobs. You see them 5-6 years, they in their 40s and shit. They're giving you the same fucking story. But it's not the case in boxing, man. The crazy part about it, I remember one time I was just having a moment, right? I was doing a whole lot of research, and it was after I was writing an article. And I had a moment where I looked at boxing and looked at what I did. All right, I'm not comparing boxing to what I did, but I'm just making a point, right? Just hear me out. So I had a moment where I remember going through what I went through, going through all the troubles, you know what I'm saying, not being able to follow orders. And I didn't think somebody instructed me to do stuff, hearing people at your home say you're going to work for the white man when you go in the military and all this shit. So I'm thinking, I'm just processing all this stuff. Like I'm having a moment where you go through all this structure and you go through the delegation of orders and you have to clean up and you have to perform all these duties. And it's really stressful until you start picking up rank. And then you go from performing the duties to delegating the duties. And then you go to overseeing in charge of somebody and making sure they get those duties taken care of. And they come back and let you know the results. Is everything taken care of? Then I look at boxing, right? They have to go through changes. They have to go through training. They have people they have to answer to. As long as boxing been in, unregulated is just unbelievable. It's amazing. Boxing is still existing. And it's almost like it's on prosthetics, bro. It seems like this sport is on prosthetics when it comes to just how it operates. And what I mean by that, it's just so many things that happen that shouldn't happen. We should be able to see the fights we want to see. The fighters should be able to get paid at this juncture. As long as this has been cultivating in the garden of boxing, fighters should be able to fight to a certain time, in their careers, retire, and receive just some type of pension. They should have some type of health care, some type of pension, something. But I can understand why they don't. Because like I always say, you don't have a president, you don't have a single commissioning body, you don't have any of that. So who are they to put in? They're going to have to find life insurance on their own. They're going to have to find health insurance on their own. It's not something that when I was serving, we put into something. It automatically was deducted out of our pay. It was automatically deducted. We put in. So when it got to a point where we was eligible for retirement, my thought process at that point in time, I knew how much time I had remaining when I was going on terminal. I already knew how much money I was going to be making for my rank and the time that I served with that rank, the high 3, the time and grade. I knew what I would be making when I got out of the service. The scale was out there. Also, I knew that I would be able to go to damn near any medical facility and get assistance. You know how crucial healthcare is? And these fighters don't get healthcare? And you wanna point the finger at mental health? Bro, they all go together, goddammit. Just imagine if a fighter say, hey, I definitely need to take some time off, man, and get some therapy and go up here. And they had a minimal copay, right? They had a minimal copay. Or if the therapist charged per session, it's a certain percentage that somehow, some way, they pay a deductible. They pay the deductible. And when they go to these sessions, that's it. They just, pay a certain percentage of the deductible and they're able to go to these sessions. The whole point I'm trying to make, they're not paying 100%. They're not paying 100%. So if that person charges $300 a session, they just basically paying a certain percentage, a small percentage of that 300 to go in there and get help. Or when it comes down to them having ailments like, old fractures or old injuries become arthritic, or they have other situations going on with CTE. It doesn't matter. Just a host of medical issues. They're able to go up there with a minimal copay that is affordable. Go to any health facility, get help, and leave there knowing that, okay, this is going to get treated. They don't have none of that. And, on Bruce's channel, they was talking about how Bruce Seldon was living bad. You know what I'm saying? It's been so many fighters that's been out here. I remember they used to talk about one of the Spinks brother who's a janitor. There's been many fighters that's been out here that's living on the rough side. They had all the people cheering for them at one time, and then they got out and they barely can make a living. They made money when they was boxing, but it wasn't that large of a purse for some of these guys. For them to just have that investment, some fighters will tell you straight up, they spent all their money. But back to the point is, it's a lot of variables that goes on with boxing that a person like me going through the military and all the struggles that I went through and all the heartache and, personal situations, family, it doesn't compare to the fighters that go in here and compete under the bright lights. And then when it gets time for them to hang up the gloves because they just don't have it, they don't get a retirement ceremony like that with the forecast of how much they're going to be making per month when they retire. Just think about the fighters who have mental health issues. How are they going to get help with mental health? If they have an episode where they act out, they're going to say, oh, they crazy. They used to be a boxer. They crazy. That's from being punched in the head. They punch drunk. They punchy. It's fucked up, bro. You have to question yourself and be like, damn, I wonder why they want to do this shit. Gooch for life. What's good? What's good with you? Salute to you. On deck with it. I just hope Charlo get to a point where he gets some help for his personal issues until he comes out and make it known to the public that I really do have some situations that's out of my control that I really can't handle on my own. I don't have a support system around me to kind of straighten this up a little bit, kind of clear the fog away. I need some help. Who did he turn to? He got to go in his own account, seek out a physician, a psychologist, or whatever, and pay for every session. That's tough, man. That's tough to do. Hopefully he don't have no mental issues and he just got personal problems, that a lot of people in his position go through, because another situation that people consider mental problems. You go through marital problems, that's not mental, okay? You know what I'm saying? Like when you found out your girl and you and your girl ain't the way it used to be a couple of years ago, and it's some situation that's not reconcilable, then you have to think to yourself, can I leave? Yes, I can. Do I want to leave? Not so much, because especially if you got kids in the house, then it gets really personal if one is adamant about leaving and that bank account is going to look different. That's not mental issues. That's personal problems. And not only that, when you find out that you've been a sole proprietor of the breadwinner, the one that's making all the bread, and you've been cooking that shit in the oven and you've been providing for your family, and then when y'all split, it's going to divorce, and all that money you don't work for and training camps and all that, you got to give 50% to her and the assets. Shit. Boy, that's still personal, dog. That ain't mental. That's personal. That's personal shit you got to deal with, shawty. Does it hurt? Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that's personal. So when they pull out the vehicle and try to back it up with that mental tag on there, who diagnosing you with mental health issues? Now, the depression. A lot of people use depression. I'm not going to get into that, but let somebody diagnose you with depression. I knew a chick one time who, every time I talked to her, she had shit going on. Very nice looking chick. But I just seemed like, damn, every time I talk to you, you seem like you have something. Like they're always tired. I said, dang, it's nobody ever pick you up. You don't have, it's hard to stay happy when this is going on. And I say, but you act like that load is just unbearable. I say, are you self-inducing this situation, or is it something that you're imagining? Oh, it's just, I get depressed. And then it took me a little bit of time to understand, okay, depression can lead to things. Depression can bring on shit. Some of these fighters might be depressed with the lack of fights they getting. You know what I'm saying? Is that mental illness though? When you having a thought that doesn't register the way you want it to, like it's not a positive thought, is that mental illness? Because it provokes you in a way that your personality change. You know what I'm saying? Your anger barometer raises a little bit higher. You have a temper. Your temper increases and gets shorter tolerance. You know what I'm saying? Is that considered behavior problems? I don't think that's mental because you mad at certain things and your behavior isn't right. I don't think that's mental. That's just me not thinking, okay? But we talk about this all the time with boxing. I just don't know when it'll ever change, man. Those individuals who pick boxing as a life, as an occupation, if you're able to make millions, man, big salute to you, God damn it. Big salute to you. The flattery is for real. Those of you that's able to make millions and provide for yourself and put money away and just be that person, cool, good for you. I always think to myself, with all the technology we got, how can it affect boxing in a more positive light? It seems like technology, of course, is evolving so much around the sport, but it's nothing that's bleeding over to make the sport better. It's just like all this outside shit is evolving, and we're seeing all these changes, and these fighters are taking a little bit of money they make on their purse, and they going out here and buying all these expensive electronics and having these fancy cars that's electric and all that shit. But none of the technology, though, is making boxing easier, and nor is it allowing these fighters to make more money, nor is it bringing any more health benefits to the sport. It's not changing nothing. Technology is changing nothing when it comes to boxing. That's a problem. Let me move on to something that I heard. Jermaine Franklin, from my understanding, is facing Anthony Joshua in April. The one that just came off a fight with Dillian White, which I thought he won that fight. They supposed to be fighting in April. All right. So from what I'm hearing, Anthony Joshua is adamant about stepping in the ring with Deontay Wilder. He's against it. I don't know how true it is, but it just seems like he has his defensive mechanisms up. The perimeter is secured. No Wilder, no bomb squad. If you see him coming in from a distance, deploy. You know what I'm saying? Tally 1, tally 2, tally 3. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we might get this fight, I don't know, when both of these guys are on their way out the door. But right now, Jermaine, who came off that loss to Dillian White, he performed well, but for a guy who took the fight on short notice and came in there and went the distance the way he did and looked pretty damn solid, now he's getting a shot at the big dog. Two-time unified heavyweight champion, formerly. He's getting to fight Anthony Joshua in the O2 Arena, y'all. He's getting to fight. He has an opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua in the O2 Arena. Damn. And then what's that other fight that's popping off? Punts is fighting Subriel Matias for the vacant IBF World Championship. Wow. That should be a pretty damn good fight too. That should be a pretty solid fight, man. What else is up there? I just see the you know how boxing goes. I try not to speak on boxing the same thing all the time, but it just seems like the articles, it's nothing for them to talk about either. I know a lot of people are continuing to talk about the Adrian Broner situation. Believe me, I've had so many conversations on that. You know, people's hit me up off what I said about Henry Lundy. Anthony Yarde situation. That should be a very good fight. Artur Beterbiev against Anthony Yarde. I'm looking forward to that fight, man. I met both of these guys in person. To be honest with you, I just want to see a good fight. If Yarde can finally step up and get the victory over the older Beterbiev, then that'll be awesome. Either way, he has a tough fight in front of him. If he beats Beterbiev, then he definitely has a tough fight with Dmitry Bivol. All right? Tough out for Chris Eubanks. When we was in Newark, the word that got out that Eubanks Sr. was totally against this fight with him taking with Conor Benn. That fight fell out because Conor Benn tested positive. He goes in here and loses to Liam Smith. And then the conversation makes all the sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? The father knows best in this situation. He just didn't see it. And a lot of people, they want to poke fun at Roy Jones. But at the end of the day, it's only so much Roy Jones can teach with Eubanks. And I don't know why the topic was so much evolving around the ribbon that he was wearing, for the LGBT. I don't know why people, in one sentence, this what I don't appreciate, right? Like on the YTC, you always hear people talking about they don't have a problem with. But then you hear Liam Smith using it in front of millions. He wants to try to highlight Eubanks as being supposedly gay. But yet, I thought when it comes down to mentioning the LGBT, community, it's a hush, be all proper and courtesy because they'll come for you type of shit, right? But yet, every time you hear people talking about somebody dealing with the LGBT, it's somebody that's supposed to be heterosexual. So they want to throw you into that rainbow or that community in an offensive way. And that's what Liam Smith was doing to Eubanks. He's pretty much saying, oh, people done told me. Like, what is it? I don't get it. Because I always say, when I was growing up, we used to talk about somebody's girl, used to talk about your mama, your daddy, all that. Now you just have dudes on some homoerotic shit that really a lot of them want to come out the closet, but they just too embarrassed to do it. That's all. So let me talk about this once more briefly on the Adrian Broner situation. As you already know, the word has broken that the third opponent that's been selected is Michael Williams Jr., who is 20-1. All right. He did get a win in a regional card after his loss to John Bowser at MSG. All right. He only has one loss. So, with that said, the criticism that I've been hearing behind the scene and been reading online is that, okay, a lot of people still remember his loss to John Bowser. A lot of people are bringing up, is this a safe fight for Adrian Broner to fight somebody who looked the way they did with John Bowser? They're basically putting it out there that Adrian, a four-weight champion, and the opponents that he's been in there with, no way, no how, regardless of how long he's been out the ring, that this fight should take place. And then I look at it like this. How many fights should you have as a fighter before somebody recognizes you and say they're not a prospect anymore? I heard somebody mention that he was a prospect. How is that? What number do we look for? What's the bar? How many fights should you get? I mean, how many fights should you have to be considered a professional? Because you get a professional license and you compete and you become 1-0, you're a professional fighter. But when is the prospect tag relieved? Fighters who have 20, 15, 18, 20 professional fights, they shouldn't be called a prospect anymore. Brian Norman Jr. isn't a prospect. Xander Zayas isn't a prospect. Now, they might say Jahad Tucker's a prospect because he has under 10 professional fights. But then we have to look at where have they been fighting for them to be considered a prospect. It's so many pages to these chapters, bro. I hear one person saying prospect and the other one don't. So getting back to the point, it was people mentioning that Adrian Broner, a four-way champion, he has way more experience that outbalanced him stepping in the ring with 150. And I look at it like you have someone who has over 20 professional fights. That's no longer a prospect. And we've seen fighters go in there on certain nights and they shine. I can't tell you what's going to happen in this fight. All I know is I understand I've seen this play out like with several fights at the last minute, or fighters coming in here. At least he has some weeks to train. But, at the last minute, and they come in here and do well. This is boxing, man. BLK Prime is attempting to put on a second card down here in the A. They have people, big name people that's attached to them now. We can no longer fake the funk like we don't know. Christy Martin is a heavy hitter, period. So if you want to look at the Henry Lundy situation, let me give you a summation, a brief summation on how that went down. If he was signed contractually to Red Boxing International over there, to one of the hardest, difficult, commissions, the California Commission, and somehow, some way, a conversation was had that they was looking for an opponent once Ivan Redcatch fell out, and he was told something. I don't know. I'm just assuming, right? I'm assuming he was told something. Hey, man, you can get this much money over here, and he went over there and said, "Hey, I had this injury. I got cut." So he removed himself from the fight card. At that moment, he's still good. He's still good because that's a valid reason for him to be removed off the fight card. Now, in between that conversation, I'm pretty sure some questions was asked. Where's the paperwork? Can you send a picture? Something. I'm going to be honest. I doubt a promoter just would have listened to him on the phone and said, oh, shit, one half of my main event is falling out. He got cut without asking any questions. Without saying, is there paperwork? Is it a picture you can send me? What is going on? So he gets, he gets out of that briefly. Well, what a lot of people don't even know, man, he signed a contract last year. Henry Lundy signed that contract for that fight last year in December. They've been making this card. It wasn't a huge card, first of all. And then he goes ahead and pull out. Okay. Let's think about this now. This is not no mediocre, elementary, run-of-the-mill type business these cats are doing. It's a lot that I know about behind the scenes, but I just don't speak on it because it's not something that interests the listeners. But Henry Lundy, a roundabout way, I know Mark came on here and said that he said that he had the paperwork or the documentations, and he was saying that Lundy said he was released from RBI before he went to BLK. Oh, that's all well and good if you was out from RBI over there or whatever, but it just doesn't go down like that. When your name pop up on BoxRec and you have a scheduled fight, you think they cannot perform due diligence to see what's really going on? Because for one, that promoter put money into that fight. So you think these promoters are just going to lose money? Looking at people pulling out of a fight that they've contractually binded to? So they're going to start doing research, making phone calls to people, asking them, hey, when did y'all talk to Lundy? Did y'all know he was contractually bonded over here? Did he tell y'all he just pulled out of a card because he had a cut? Did y'all check and see if that cut is going to be good? Look, Andy Foster called the Georgia, a person that's very locked in. He's executive director. He probably got on the phone and started calling people, say, "What's going on with this again? You know, I don't have a good feeling about this guy pulling out of a fight because of a cut." And I think he's really trying to play the promoter. And they really started to do their investigation. I really wish he wouldn't have done interviews. It don't matter who he was with. I just wish he wouldn't have did no interviews when he just was dropped off a main event card over there at RBI. Now he would be okay. He's doing interviews with a hat on. So I'm putting pieces together. I say he got a hat on. And he's saying he dropped out of the fight because of a cut. People ain't going to buy it. So they turned around and did him like they do a lot of fighters that try to get more money fighting somewhere else. They suspended him indefinitely and red flagged him. Nobody can touch him now. Now, Lundy go from making a small bag to potentially making a larger bag to not getting a dime. It's done. He's not getting a dime. And that is, people, that is the ebbs and flow of the sewer systems of boxing. When I mean the sewer system of boxing, there's a lot of grimy shit go on behind the scene. A lot of debris to be floating around in this motherfucking waterway. Some people get drowned. Some people swim around in that shit, and they're survivors. They can tell you the whole route. I've been there, done that. I had this done to me. I had that done, this done to me, that done to me. I was supposed to get paid this amount. Then they can tell you all the times they was fucked over. But with Lundy, what he did, I don't know the whole story, but I do know the story. I do know he was locked in contractually, and he thought he was just going to say that I have a cut. I was pulling for the man. I wanted to see Lundy get that bag. I was pulling for him and AB. We know AB is going to get the bag, but when I see a fighter like Lundy, the money would have did him just due. I want to see the brother go in there. I'm not mad at him for anything. I'm just telling y'all how the shit played out. Maybe they should have waited before they posted him on BoxRec. But they didn't. They hurried up and posted him on BoxRec. That wasn't a good move, man. Before he was red flagged, that motherfucking BoxRec popped up. You might as well have been sending a blimp up that. A blimp with Lundy. BLK Lundy. February 25th. You might well have sent the blimp up in the skies. And they's like, huh? You see that blimp? They on the West Coast. Look, they're on the West Coast looking at that blimp. They say, do you see that? Broner versus Lundy on that blimp over there. That's on the East Coast, ain't it? Man, they start getting on the telephones. They say, yeah, man. Hey, look up on BoxRec. Boom, they saw him on BoxRec. It was over. They say, oh, he think he's about to play us. He's about to pull out of my main event and go to somebody else's main event because he's making more money. Nah. He's done, man. I feel sorry for the brother, man. Not sorry in a way, pathetic sorry, but I feel sorry that he's not going to be able to make that bread. Now he's going to definitely have to have an alternate job to get paid, man. It's just unfortunate. Haynes Legacy on deck. What's good? Salute to you, brother. In the building. Blunt said, I saw somebody say Williams is ranked 546 and AB shouldn't be fighting him on pay-per-view. Like I say, Blunts, what you're saying is it's no fault in what you're putting out there. You're just putting information that somebody said or what someone possibly saw. But the point I'm trying to make is the exact same criticism that you're speaking on right now. They're looking at the level for which AB is on, and they're just looking at the BoxRec and his performance. Pretty much, him coming off the loss at in NYC at Madison Square Garden. That's all. And people, yeah, they can look at his resume, but they're looking at what they're seeing. What have you done for me lately? And when you go on TV under the bright lights, people pay attention. It's look, 150 has a huge fan base outside of anything. Has a huge fan base. A lot of people, support him. Huge fan base. But this is a different level. Now that you've been in front of the bright lights and you didn't get the win, now you're talking about AB. AB is going to absorb a lot of this criticism too. But for him, it doesn't matter as much, bro. He's got his career. He solidified his legacy. He's a 4-weight champion. Can't nobody do anything about it, even if they wanted to. But when you bring Michael Williams, who's going to bring a lot of fans, look, he's going to bring a lot of fans to the seats. He's going to bring a lot of people to the seats. It's just his experience level with the competition, like Adrian Broner. You know what I'm saying? I heard somebody say that if Giovanni Santiago, went the distance with Adrian Broner, Michael Williams Jr. can. Hey, you just don't know what Adrian Broner's mentality is in this fight. It's supposed to be scheduled for a 10-round fight. So you don't know what Adrian's mentality is signing a multi-fight deal with BOK. He might go in there with a different mentality and let his hands go early and try to get 150 up out of there. 150 may go in there and have a different start than he had with Bowser and let his hands go and be more active with his combinations and with his distance. But one thing we know about Adrian Broner, the man ain't never been stopped before. The man ain't never been stopped before, yo. That's one thing about AB. You can say about him having a stomach, him out here partying, him doing one of the best fights I always watch with AB is the one with Marcus Maidana, because he was definitely out of shape condition-wise for boxing, but he still was boxing himself up out that motherfucker, dog. You want to talk about in a bad place on the front end of the gloves of that Argentinian OG that was laying that leather to him, and he was fighting, he was boxing his way, he was trying to collect. He said, I got this. Damn, just let me get through it. Damn. Let me get through this adversity. He still tried to box. Y'all may not see it, but me, myself, I'm looking at that shit like that was a tough ass fight for him. Maidana was dropping them hammers on him, and he still tried to fight up out that bitch. He still tried to fight out. He looked bad. He looked bad in that fight. But that's one of my fights I like looking at, because both fighters was showing that warrior spirit, man. Both fighters was doing that shit. I know y'all done heard about, so we'll see how that plays out. You know what I'm saying? Right now they still have TBA up on BoxRec. I don't know the whole process on how far 150 is at right now with the paperwork and all that, because they definitely don't want to put somebody else on the flyer and something else happen. You know what I'm saying? Every commission is different. A promoter, according to what their relationship is with the commission, they can make some things happen. You know what I'm saying? They can make some things happen. They can make some things happen, and they can make some things not happen. I think, Christy Martin and them, because Christy is helped Williams them out before, with a potential fight. I think the commission is going to approve the fight. The man has, 20 victories, man. What else do you need? I'm just saying. Hey, we know AB to be who he is. We'll just see how it plays out, y'all. They're talking about David Benavidez. If he earns a victory over Caleb Plant, he would get a fight with Canelo. Who all believe that in the chat? I don't know if Canelo's going to stay at 168 if Benavidez win against, Caleb Plant. I don't know if he's going to do it. I think he's going to vacate the titles, bro. That's all. That's all I think. I think he's going to freaking vacate the titles. Real talk. I'm not going to bullshit you. But we'll see how it plays out, y'all. Appreciate that comment, Blunts. Haynes say hit the like button and sub up. No doubt, man. Appreciate you. All you to come in here and tell people to sub to the channel, I appreciate you. I don't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the building, you hear him, hit the like button, hit the like button. You got 22, likes so far. Hit the like button before they start talking about only get 20 likes. Andrew say, I think it's pretty cool Williams Jr. get to step in the ring with a fighter like AB. What's an opportunity for the young man? Well, I can tell you this ain't the first time they try to get a fight with AB. So I know they've been trying to get a fight with AB for some time, not on some grudge match type shit. They just wanted to step in the ring with AB, man, because they got respect for him. And it's levels to boxing. Obviously, it's levels, bro. And we know AB on a different level. Period. Point blank. Period. In order for Williams to regain that respect that was lost when he took a defeat against John Bowser, is to go in here and have a solid performance against Adrian Broner. Then maybe BLK might sign him to a multi-fight deal. You never know. They're signing fighters now. You know what I'm saying? You never know. I'm just putting it out there. You never know. But yeah, it's damn good that he get to grace the square with a future Hall of Famer, 4-weight world champion. Obviously, this would be the biggest name Williams has ever stepped into the square with. The biggest name, period, in Adrian the Problem Broner. But we have to wait and see if everything gets approved, because, man, they treating us like a motherfucking prostitute down here when it comes to boxing. They treating us like we the motherfucking trap house, and you come up here and pay $5 and you can go to the back room. Like, god damn. Man, they treating us like this is a stop and go. I know y'all, a lot of you young cats don't know what a stop and go. A stop and go back in the day was like 7-Eleven. It was called stop and go, man. We can't get no big fights down here. I mean, they starved us out in 22. We supposed to get Gervonta Davis down here in December. That fell through. Damn. We was looking forward to Tank coming down here a third time. But man, we hate. Look, we hurting for big fights. We're not hurting in boxing. Boxing matches take place down here, but I have to salute Gervonta for giving us that spark. And then, Shakur Stevenson came down with Jamel Herring. But we need some more names down here, bro. We need some more big names to fill the State Farm Arena or even the Mercedes-Benz. We need some names. I was hearing Lomachenko, I know a team like Team Haney would have came down here to the A. I know it. But I was hearing Lomachenko didn't want no part of the A. I don't want to go down there. Lomachenko didn't want to go down here. This is Black Hollywood. Loma's like, how am I supposed to win? You want me to go to Atlanta with Devin? Hell no. Lomachenko ain't trying to come down here to the A. Man, he said he'll fight him anywhere except ATL, goddammit. Lomachenko did not want to come down to the ATL to fight because this is Black Hollywood, and we all know that Devin Haney is black. So I would, I salute Bill them. They did want to come down here for that fight now. Word has it. They did want to try to come down here, but Lomachenko, Atlanta? Hell no, I ain't going down to Atlanta. I don't have a chance in hell to win that fight on the cards. We'll see how it happened though, bro. What was the last thing I was gonna say? I'm looking forward to the Tony Harrison Tim Tszyu fight. Yes. So I'm getting mixed reviews on that. I have some people saying that Tony Harrison is gonna box Tim Tszyu ears off, and then of course I hear that Tim Tszyu is gonna, take Tony into deep waters, and Tony is gonna crash and burn. But people, I look at his record though. I'm like, where are they seeing all this? Like, I mean, am I missing something? Like, does he have 5 or 6 losses already? This is gonna be a good fight, man. This Tim Tszyu and Tony Harrison, this will be a damn good fight, bro. Pay attention to when April and May comes around. Oh my God. I would say March, April, so to speak, come around. We're gonna be able to clear some things up, especially with that pay-per-view situation. We're gonna see how many people support. And then I don't know if you've seen it, but um somebody had put it out that they were still talking about the numbers, what the actual numbers. I'm off that. I'm not really gonna get involved in the number situation anymore, especially when it's been beat over and over again. I really don't get in the numbers like that. People who get in the numbers, it's easy for you to talk, numbers and make it seem like you know what you're talking about, but yet you have no affiliation with no boxing promotion. You're not the CFO for any boxer. None of that. So you just like me. I can go up here and say what I want to say. Both of us are pretty much expressing the same thing. But man, y'all hold it down. You know what I'm saying? Call sign Kilroy. I'm out the building, man. USMC retired. Until we do it again, man. Y'all hold it down and continue to support the channel. World Combat